Been a privilege to be on the planet during this era where we have developed technology that gives us the power to go to the moon. Nobody had done that when I was a child. To go to the deepest parts of the ocean. So we've learned more in my lifetime about who we are, where we come from, what is the future. But at the same time that we're learning so much, we're also losing so much because the technology enables us to clear cut a forest. I watched the collapse of half the coral reefs, kelp forests, seagrass meadows, just that fabric of living systems that make our existence possible. Now we know. We didn't know how important it was to protect the fabric of life made up of lots of individual species, each one with a place. On my watch, when I was a kid, we were celebrating whalers, brave guys going out, taking down these monsters and turning them into oil and meat and bone for money. And we look at them now with a different perspective. We value whales more alive than just as products. And we haven't made that transition with a lot of other things, from insects to fish in the sea. But we should. Actually, we must think differently. Some have much greater power than others to influence the direction we're going. But sometimes it's just one person with a voice, someone with a beautiful voice who sings and catches our attention, makes us see what we otherwise couldn't. Think about how you, whoever you are, whatever you've got, what can you do? Alone, nobody can do what needs to be done. But if you team up with others, identify the things that can be done, and then let's do it. Let's stop killing ocean wildlife by the ton. Let's not even think about tearing up the seafloor with deep sea mining when we don't even know who is down there. I can't do more than what I can do, but times 8 billion, if everybody does something. Some people have vastly more power to influence the nature of the world than others. Mobilize that power, and knowing it's possible is what I find exhilarating.
If we don't support our nighttime economy, whether it's business owners or our workforce, our overall economies will crumble. Our nighttime economies are just as important as our daytime economies. What's happening at 2 a.m. is just as important as what's happening at 2 p.m. If your child is sick and you look in the medicine cabinet and there's no children's Motrin and it's 2 a.m., how do you get access to that? That's all a part of the nighttime economy. So it's really ensuring that we have a strong quality of life 24 hours.
When we were a tribal species and we didn't have these amazing cities, going out at night meant that you were under the cover of darkness and could be dangerous. But however, since we have transformed into, again, a global economy, a 24-hour economy, going out at night is essential. It's essential to people's lives. It's essential to how people feel and choose where they want to live and what they need.
There's a few consequences, and it depends on your lens, but in the absence of a nighttime economy, you see breakdown in civic cohesion because we exclude people from coming together. There's the obvious economic benefits that come with the trade that occurs, but often it really represents the identity of our societies. Culture, nightlife, this is where ideas are explored and culture is expressed often. Up to about 30% of the workforce in New South Wales works at some point between the hours of 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. They often don't enjoy the same amenity as our daytime workers. They don't have access to childcare. They don't have the same transport access. And so even from just an equality perspective and quality of life for our overall workforce, these are important issues to consider.
We often over-regulate nighttime economy businesses, especially if they sell alcohol. So there's some of our most heavily regulated, heavily taxed businesses, but don't get the same support. If you're a daytime business and you have a question with the city about your taxes or maybe your water bill or any municipal issue, you can go right down to the municipal office that's open from 9 to 5, get answers. But if you work overnight and you sleep during the day because you need to recharge on your business, it's a little bit hard to access.
Policy is key in unlocking growth for nighttime economies. A lot of folks build policy around the daytime, but we need it just as much at night. We need to ensure that those industries that serve our nighttime economy have the right policies to be able to be open when they need to be, to serve the community when the community wants to be served.
A true 24-hour city is one that has a plan for what it looks like at 2 p.m. and at 2 a.m. and the people who work at 2 a.m. have the same access to city services and quality of life as those who work at 2 p.m.
It's like you buy 4 or 5 boxes of jigsaw puzzles, you mix everything together, then you throw away the boxes, and then you try to solve 4 or 5 puzzles at the same time.
what's going to happen is, I think, that the work of archaeologists will dramatically change. And in some way, I think we will get back to our origins, to the interpretation of artworks, of daily life, of social structures, architecture.